Hey folks, this week we are talking about lenses and filters, some lens attachments and filters. And a lot of your textbook talks about artistic photography. Our focus is crime scene photography, so we're gonna kind of go a little bit away from some of the things the textbook talks about. So one of the first things that we really would like to see being used in crime scene work are close-up or magnifying lenses, depending on which manufacturer you buy them from. These are essentially magnifying glasses. You screw on the end of your lens and it makes things appear closer. It allows you a magnifying. So much like if you've ever had a magnifying glass where you have the little magnifying glass and you take a look and you can make the words on the page look bigger, or whatever it is you did with those, went out in the driveway and fried ants with them, that same magnifying glass. So these are just little things that attach. Here's a set of them. Usually they come in sets of a couple of them. You can get them for as low as $50, if not even cheaper, depending on the manufacturer. And so you've got a +1 lens, so it magnifies everything by 1 time, +2, +4, and a +10. They can actually be screwed on top of each other to even amplify your magnification even more. So you can see photographers just screwing it onto the lens. So that 50mm quote-unquote normal lens, we're still getting that same normal lens viewfinder ability, but we're just able to magnify stuff. So, think about taking pictures of fingerprints at your crime scene and trying to get in close. We will talk about macro photography and specialized lenses and things like that a little bit later. But at the easiest level, if we put these magnifiers on our lenses, we can get these close-up shots here of the fingerprint. So here on the left side of the screen, kind of an ink rolled fingerprint, perfect rolled fingerprint. Over here on the right is what we would typically find at a crime scene. Kind of smudged, kind of dirty, dusted, hard to see, but we're in there tight and we can actually see the details of that print. All right, something else that is important to us in forensic science is our alternate light sources, or ALS. These are those light sources where we can treat certain things with chemicals, fingerprints, human biologics. Some things don't need even treated with chemicals, just they're naturally going to glow in the dark. But they don't glow in the dark on their own. We have to shine specific wave color light on them. Green lights, blue lights, red lights, whatever. Our human eyes can't see it. So typically, we wear these funky goggles. Our cameras don't wear those funky goggles. So we put the colored lenses on the end of our lenses, the filters I should say, on the ends of our lenses. And those filters allow then the camera to see what is glowing. So here's an example of something we can do. Don't need to treat it with any chemicals. If you've got a charred document, you can see on the left there, a little hard to read some of it where it's burnt. On the right, when we're using the right filter and using the right alternate light source, now you can see through the charring. We can actually see the text that's underneath. Similarly, obliterated writings, bad check case. Somebody takes a check, you write out a check, you go to a store, you write out a check for $10.00. They cross off the 0 cents and they somehow make that now $100, $1,000. We can actually, the different inks, begin to look through inks and see what's underneath and find that you can actually watch the writing appear from behind the paint. So we can uncover different inks that are hidden behind each other. Bodily fluids. So we have down here on the bottom of the screen, we've got a carpeting. You can see there's something there. Something doesn't look right, and when we hit it with ALS and the right filter, we suddenly now have this glowing where that definitely is telling us, yes, that's human biologic. We need to collect that for DNA evidence. Fingerprints. Fingerprints are hard to see. Here we've got a fingerprint on some sort of sports energy drink type can, bottle. And what we end up is, running the filter through it, UV light and a visible pass filter, and bam, there's our fingerprint. The colors, the blues, the reds, the orange, the things that make the print hard to see on our can vanish because they're in darkness. We do these photos in the darkness, so they don't show up. They aren't glowing. Our fingerprint powder also is a reactive fingerprint powder that glows, and so now the can vanishes, the fingerprint pops. Deep tissue injuries is also an important thing to be talking about with our UV photography or ALS photography. So here on the left we have a person's shoulder. You can see there's something here, right about here. I don't know if you can notice it, if it comes through on the video. You kind of see something right about here. I'm not sure if that comes out on the video either. This is the standard photography of this person. So we pull out a UV light, we put on a UV filter, and look at that. You can actually see the teeth marks. This person was bitten, and so they have a tissue damage, that the actual biting on that shoulder. There's bruising down inside the skin. The bite mark is gone. The bruise has more or less healed, but deep in the tissue, there's still injury. There's still bruising down underneath. I mean, how many of you have ever gotten, gotten like a black eye, got some other bruise somewhere in your body, and when the color starts to go back to normal here, when you touch it, it still kind of hurts. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing that deep tissue injury, that there's still increased blood flow and still the healing process going on below the skin. So we can see bruises after they've healed, and you don't notice them on the skin with our UV photography. Lastly, let's talk about something called a polarized filter. Something we don't always think about in the world of forensic science, but maybe we should. Polarized filters help us out on sunny days. They cut down on glare. So over here on the left, you see what a normal picture would look like with a normal camera. The blue sky is kind of faded out. The concrete looks kind of weird. The grass doesn't look right. The sun is just hitting us, and it's causing kind of that muting out of colors. Polarized filter filters that out, gives us one wavelength of light coming through the lens, and gives us a more natural look to the universe. When you're outside, this looks close to what you might see, but this is actually really what you see when you're standing outside. On a hazy day, yeah, might be what you see, but on a nice bright sunny day, this is what the world looks like. The other thing is when you have maybe evidence in some water, looking into the water, the sunlight reflects off the water, so we can't see into it. Everything's kind of hard to see. Put on the polarizing filter, we can see right through into the water. There's no reflection off the surface. Again, the wavelengths of light are filtered out in such a way that we can see. So it creates a more natural lighting. One thing I like about polarized filters, doesn't matter if you're inside, outside, they really don't affect a picture. They just filter out certain wavelengths of light which cut down on glares. You use them inside, you can use them outside, doesn't really matter. Polarizing filter is really nice though, because if something happens, if somebody touches your camera, if somebody does something, the lens itself is not going to break. It's going to be the filter. So if somebody throws something at you, if you drop your camera, you're going to have the filter hitting the ground first, not the lens. Lenses cost thousands of dollars. A polarizing filter I can get for 15. So I've just broke my filter. Okay, 15 bucks. Go to the local camera shop, Best Buy, I don't care. Screw a new filter on, you're good to go. I drop my camera and I break that lens. That's thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars I'm spending to buy a new lens. So first of all, don't drop your cameras. But if you do, the polarizing filter really helps us out. So that's just kind of my little tip for the day, for the semester, whatever. You spend a couple of bucks on one of these filters, and it's just like a little extra insurance policy on your camera. Alrighty, so that's what we're going to talk about this week, basically, for basic lens attachments and filters. There is no photographic assignment this week, so all you got to do is your discussion post, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks. Bye.